Thanks so much for joining us today, folks, on the bright side. Yesterday, we were talking about the philosophy, the idea that there's really only one thing going on when we're sick. There's really only one thing that's going on when we're supposedly have some kind of health crisis, and that is the body's breaking down more than it's building up. This idea that the body's always breaking down and building up, but we are net breakdown when there is chronic degenerative diseases. And we said yesterday that all the many diagnoses, there's thousands, literally thousands upon thousands of different diagnoses, and they all exist only as labels and names and descriptions. You got a pain in your muscles. Oh, that's fibromyalgia. My digestive system is screaming at me the only way it knows how, with loose stools and bloating and cramping. It's angry at me because of something I ate. Oh, that must be colitis. Oh, my immune system is so confused from all the stuff that's going on with my defenses and digestive invaders that now it's affecting my joints and now it's affecting my thyroid. Oh, you have autoimmune disease or Graves' disease or celiac disease or Crohn's disease. This labeling and diagnosing so we can be drugged and billed reaches its peak of stupidity, of absurdity with psychiatric disorders. Oh, you're bummed out. Oh, you're depressed. Take this Abilify, this Prozac, this Effexor, this Zoloft. Oh, your moods keep changing. That's called bipolar disorder. And here's some lithium. Here's some Prozac. The latest psychiatric craziness, and make no mistake about it, nothing exemplifies the stupidity of the medical paradigm of diagnoses and drugs. Nothing exemplifies this more than the pseudoscience of psychiatry. It's almost like a farce. The latest is obsessive shopping disorder and oppositional defiance disorder. That's my personal favorite one. Oppositional defiance disorder. It sounds like something you'd hear on a Saturday Night Live skit, but it's not. It's right there in the new DSM, Diagnostic Statistic Manual. It has all the different diagnoses for psychiatric illness. Yesterday there was an article published in the Journal of the Public Library of Science that reported that there are brain changes that show up when someone has obsessive internet disorder. I'm not kidding you, folks. The next thing you're going to see is a medicine that you can get that's going to reduce the signs and symptoms of obsessive internet disorder. Do you know there were 250 million prescriptions written for antidepressant drugs last year alone? It's a multi-billion-dollar business worth $14 or $15 billion a year. Then there's those commercials. Have you noticed how much drug advertising is out there? I counted 6 ads in 1 hour yesterday on MSNBC. What do you think the purpose of having direct-to-consumer advertising, reinforcing the idea that if you have Crohn's disease and you take a pill and smiley, happy people are the result, and then you're dancing a jig? What do you think the purpose is of showing how happy people are after they take medicine? That's not how things work, but the implications are there. Marketers love implications. Advertisers love implications and suggestions. They love when they don't have to communicate logically. They love when they don't have to communicate rationally with our higher brain centers. They love when they can play with emotions and subtle subliminal signaling, smiley, happy people taking their prescriptions. The reality of it is that the real story is, folks, from a rational, intelligent, thoughtful standpoint, is these things, these prescriptions, these drugs, these medicines are awful. And if you are on a long-term chronic medicine, you want to be doing everything you can possibly do to get off of it, including nutritionally supplementing, including watching food, including watching drink, including moving our bodies around. Why is this such a hard sell to conventional and mainstream thinking? Why is it so hard to believe that this idea of supplementing or paying attention to our foods or paying attention to our drinks or exercising/relaxing? And by the way, you want to exercise a whole heck of a lot less than you want to relax. The body loves to relax. You always want to exercise 1/10 of the amount that you're relaxing. It's like a 9-to-1 ratio of relaxation to exercise for maximum benefits. In any case, why is this such a hard sell? Why is it such a hard sell to say to somebody, hey, you need some nutritional supplements. You need to correct your diet. Why is it such an easy sell to say, here's a prescription drug. Here's a drug for your heart. Not here's a treadmill treadmill for your heart, or not here's a diet plan for your heart, or not here's some Beyond Tangy Tangerine for your heart? Why is it that when we hear supplementation, we hear how important it is to supplement? Probably not for a lot of you guys, but for most people, why is it when they hear how important it is to supplement, they immediately think of quacks, or they immediately think of hippie medicine, or you must be from Boulder, Colorado? Why is it that we think it's normal and it's okay to take prescription drugs, but we think it's wacky to take supplements? Why is it that we think that it's the normal conventional medicine is going to the doctor, but alternative medicine, think of the implications of just the word alternative. Alternative medicine is using vitamins. Conventional medicine is going to your doctor, getting a drug, but alternative medicine is using nutritional supplements. Folks, this is a mass hypnotic trance that is reinforced by interests that are not our interests. This model of degeneration says degeneration leading to a drug where you take a pill for every disease you have. It doesn't serve us as individuals. It doesn't serve our loved ones. It doesn't serve my dad, whom I watched degenerate because he wouldn't dare even think of challenging this conventional model. We'll be back after this. We'll take a break. Our number is 866-582-9933. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. We're talking a little bit about the bright side philosophy today, and we did yesterday. There's a lot of different aspects to what I call the bright side philosophy, but the main idea is that even though there's 12,000 plus different diagnoses and labels, there's not a lot of things that can go wrong in the body. In philosophy and in science, there's this kind of concept, I guess you'd say. It's a formula called Occam's razor, O-C-C-A-M-S. It's also known as the law of parsimony or the law of economy. And this is a principle that scientists use that says that the simplest explanations will usually be the most plausible until evidence is presented that proves it false. That's Occam's razor. That's a guiding rule that scientists use, philosophers use, thinkers use when they're coming up with ideas. Well, when it comes to health, the simplest explanation that could be the most plausible until evidence that is presented that proves it false. The simplest idea about health is that if you are not feeling as good as you want to feel, that means your body is breaking down. It doesn't matter if your doctor diagnoses you with fibromyalgia or diabetes or arthritis or any of the 12,000 plus different diseases. That's just a way to distract us. Those are red herrings. Those are ways to sell us medicines and drugs, because for every label and diagnosis, you can bet there's a drug that you can get, or a surgical procedure, or a device that you can be billed for. What I'm saying is, let's simplify this. Your body's breaking down. Why is it breaking down? If we ask that simple question, why is the body breaking down? Then we can start to really address the causes of our health issues. Why is the body breaking down? Well, almost always you'll find some kind of digestive component. Almost always you'll find some kind of blood sugar component. And almost always you're going to find an adrenal gland thyroid component as well. And that's why when I talk to people on this radio show, I talk to people during the day, when I answer letters, the first thing I'm always going to ask you is, what's going on in the digestive system? Let's figure out the digestive symptomology. If you don't see any digestive symptoms, let's focus. What's going on with the blood sugar? Let's figure out a way to stabilize the blood sugar. What's going on with the adrenal glands and what's going on with the thyroid? Let's figure out a way to figure out what's going on inside the thyroid, inside the adrenal glands, inside the thyroid, and how to treat it correctly. No doctors necessary, no drugstores necessary, no side effects necessary, no insurance companies, etc. As we get older, for most of us, the end result of decades of abuse begin to show up in all the symptoms of the body. We've been focused on cardiovascular health for the last 2-3 weeks. We'll continue talking about that. The heart is no exception to this rule. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States and around the world. It can involve plaque. It can involve heart muscle weakness. It can involve problems with the valves. It can involve problems with the cells that control the rhythm, the so-called pacemaker cells. But the bottom line is something is keeping the heart from getting the blood it needs, from getting the oxygen it needs, from getting the energy it needs. Something is breaking down in the cardiovascular chemistry. That means the only thing we need to do to turn around heart disease is figure out what is breaking down in the cardiovascular chemistry. We need to improve the blood supply. We need to improve the strength of the heart muscle. We need to improve oxygenation. That's it. That's it. And it makes it so much simpler. Is there a drug on the planet that can make your heart stronger? Of course not. Can any doctor make your heart stronger? Of course not. But we can do it without a doctor. How do you make your heart stronger? Number 1, exercise. Number 2, stop eating the bad food. And number 3, make sure you're using nutritional supplements. We've spent the last several weeks discussing alternatives that we can use to avoid taking heart medicine, to avoid our cholesterol-lowering drugs, our statin drugs, or our blood-thinning medicine, or our beta-blocking drugs, or our calcium channel blocking drugs. One of the best ways of making the heart stronger is to improve the heart cell's ability to extract energy from fat, and probably the most important nutritional supplement of all for encouraging fat burning is carnitine. Carnitine comes in various forms: acetyl L-carnitine, acetyl L-carnitine arginate, so-called arginocarn brand name, glycine, propionyl L-carnitine brand name glycocarn, plain old L-carnitine. There's many different forms, but what they all have in common is they encourage production of cellular energy from fat. Carnitine encourages cells to become a fat burner, or to become fat burners. And the greater the amount of energy that our cells get from fat, the healthier they will be and the healthier we will be. The bottom line here, folks, is that anything we can do to shunt or direct energy towards fat burning and away from sugar burning is going to be in our interest. Eating fewer calories means we're going to be directing the body to burn fat, and this is an extremely effective strategy for fat burning. Eating less sugar, again, means we'll be directing the body to burn fat. As it turns out, most of us are doing the exact opposite. Most of us are not only not burning fat, but we're directing our body to burn sugar, and our body gets used to burning sugar. The pathways for burning sugar become entrenched, and this is a big, big problem. In fact, the horrifically excessive, from a biochemical standpoint at least, horrifically excessive consumption of sugar is probably the most serious health challenge that we are going to confront in our lifetimes. We've talked at length about glycation, which is the reaction that sugar has with protein, the burning reaction. The glycation reaction can occur with all the proteins in the body, including the proteins of the heart, the proteins in the brain, the proteins in blood vessels, the proteins in organs, the proteins in glands. This glycation reaction, this sugaring reaction, you could just think of it like caramelization. Our bodies are literally turning to candy. They're turning into caramel. They're turning into melted sugar as that sugar reacts with the protein in the body. And we've talked about the whole insulin connection, how excess ingestion of sugars not only is a problem because of the sugar, but because it creates issues with insulin, leading to an accumulation of body fat. Nothing tells the body to burn sugar and store fat more powerfully than the hormone insulin. Insulin causes cells to grow. That leads to cysts and fibroids and ultimately even cancers. Now we have a third mechanism where excess ingestion of sugar can cause health problems, and that is by discouraging the burning of fat for fuel. So sugar itself is a problem because it browns, or it burns, or it glycates, or it candies, or it caramelizes. Any word you want to use, any descriptive term you want to use, sugar itself is a problem because it will react with protein. Sugar is a problem because it elevates insulin, and insulin leads to accumulation of body fat. Insulin speeds up cell growth, which can lead to fibroids and cysts. And the third mechanism where excess sugar can cause a problem is the more sugar you eat, the less likely you're going to be using your fat, to be burning your fat for fuel. You're going to be using your sugar to burn for fuel, and sugar burning is far less efficient than fat burning. The more sugar you eat, the more likely it is that your fat is going to be stored and not burned. And conversely, the less sugar we eat, the more likely it is that the fat's going to be burned. This is so important. The less sugar that we eat, and that means bread and cereal and rice and pasta and potatoes and fruit juice and desserts, processed foods, fast foods, the less sugar we ingest, the more likely it's going to be that the body burns fat. All right, we'll continue our discussion on cardiovascular health, on heart health, and we'll take your phone calls as well. Got a bunch of you guys on hold. Try to get to as many calls as we can today. 866-582-9933 is our number. We'll be back after this. Don't go away. All right, we are back on the bright side. Thanks for joining us here today, friends. 866-582-9933 is our number. If you've got questions about prescription drugs, you want to get off your meds, get on a good nutritional supplement program, health issues, longevity questions, 866-582-9933 is the number. Andy writes, which is better, whey protein concentrates or whey protein isolates? Is there any difference at all? Are isolates dangerous? That's a good question. I get that question a lot about whey protein. First of all, let me say whey protein, if you can handle it, and it does have a little bit of lactose. Most whey proteins have a little lactose in them, and some people cannot handle whey protein, although most people can. If you have a problem with whey protein, that's unfortunate. Try using your whey protein with enzymes, or try using some of the more processed whey proteins. Whey protein isolate is a processed protein. It is processed to get rid of some of the compounds that people have issues with, and it also helps break down some of the proteins and frees up some of the amino acids. The problem is it is a processed protein, and proteins are very sensitive to processing. Also, as you break things down through the isolation process, you can not only create some toxic compounds in terms of toxic proteins, but you're going to lose a lot of the value of whey protein. Whey protein is such a valuable food because in addition to amino acids, and in addition to building amino acids, it has other protein-like compounds that are extremely important for health. These little protein compounds are called peptides, and they do some amazing things. They're anti-inflammatory. They support the immune system. They accelerate the healing process. They're important for brain health. They've got some tremendous roles to play, and you lose those peptides the more you're processing away. Whey protein isolate is a highly processed version of protein. So number one, you're going to lose some of those additional non-amino acid features, non-small amino acid features. You still get the amino acids, but you'll lose the peptides. You'll also produce some toxic compounds. The more you process a protein, the more toxic it can become. The advantage to a whey protein isolate is it's easier to digest and absorb for some people. And also, if you have allergies or digestive problems when you use whey protein concentrates, then you may need to turn to a whey protein isolate. But if you don't have any problems with a whey protein concentrate, it is less processed than whey protein isolates. There are some people out there who are saying that whey protein isolates are dangerous. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true, but you are probably denaturing some of those proteins. You are probably creating some defective, maybe even dangerous proteins in the isolation process. I know of no research that is definitive on this, but the idea that you're processing a protein is not really a good thing. Now, certainly whey protein concentrates, those are processed a little bit themselves, but they're not processed as much as the whey protein isolates. Whey protein isolates are also a lot more expensive. So if you don't need a whey protein isolate, if you don't have a food allergy, if you don't have digestive issues, it's probably just as well to get yourself on a whey protein concentrate. And I may add at this point that all of the research that has been done on whey, there's a lot of research that's been done on whey protein. All of the research that shows how valuable a food whey protein is has been done on whey protein concentrates, not on the fancier, more highly processed whey protein isolates. So, long story short, Andy, I'd be using the whey protein concentrate unless I had a digestive issue that precluded it. Okay, let's go to the phones. 866-582-9933 is the number. Hardy in Mississippi. What's going on, bro?
Oh, man, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. How can we help you?
All right. How to rate boost the HDL and lower the LDL.
Well,
you clean out the arteries and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good question, Hardy. Here's the deal. HDL and LDL are two carrier forms of cholesterol. They're not cholesterol. Let me say that again, because this confuses a lot of folks. Maybe not you, Hardy, but a lot of folks out there think that HDL is cholesterol or LDL is cholesterol. They're not. HDL is a carrier. It's a bubble that carries cholesterol through the blood. HDL carries cholesterol into the liver, and LDL carries cholesterol away from the liver. So it's not so much a question of increasing HDL and LDL. It's a question of controlling your body's chemistry so that you are building and breaking down at the right rate. The faster you're breaking down, the higher your LDL is going to be. The faster you're breaking down, the higher your LDL is going to be, because the LDL is required, is shipping cholesterol to help repair. Remember, LDL is a bubble that's carrying cholesterol to the different parts of the body. LDL is a bubble that is carrying cholesterol to the different parts of the body to do its building and repair work. The faster you're breaking down, the higher your LDL is going to be. The faster you're breaking down, the higher your LDL is going to be. The single most important strategy for controlling your blood cholesterol is to lower your insulin. In fact, you want to treat disturbances in cholesterol as an insulin and blood sugar issue first and foremost. There also may be some liver involvement as well, but first and foremost, you want to treat cholesterol issues as a pre-diabetic health concern. It means you're on the road towards diabetes, so you want to correct your cholesterol levels if they're out of whack, first and foremost by using sugar control strategies. That means, number one, reducing your intake of anything that messes up insulin, and that's especially the fast-burning sugars, bread, pasta, cereals, sugar-laden desserts, sugar-laden beverages. All of those foods that mess up your insulin are going to raise your LDL. They're going to lower your HDL. Okay, and they're going to elevate your total blood cholesterol as well. So if you're interested in controlling your cholesterol, lower your sugar first. Lower your insulin as well. Lower your insulin and lower your blood sugar. Same idea. How do you do that? Number one, the foods. Control your foods. But number two, there's some great nutritional supplements. I haven't talked about the statin drugs yet, but I will be talking about those. If you are concerned about cholesterol and you want a supplement to take, you don't want to take a drug, get yourself on niacin, vitamin B3, 500 milligrams time release. Make sure you're taking it with your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, because you never want to take just one B vitamin by itself. But niacin, vitamin B3, is a powerful way to lower your cholesterol, blood cholesterol, naturally. And on top of that, you'll lower your triglycerides naturally, your blood fats naturally. And of course, niacin is a vitamin, so instead of having side effects, it has wonderful beneficial effects. It opens up blood vessels. It's great for your brain health. It's great for liver health. Wonderful benefits from taking niacin. You know, people who take people have taken high doses of niacin to treat social anxiety disorder and nervousness. High doses of actually a form of niacin called niacinamide. In any case, vitamin B3, niacin hardy, is probably the best nutritional supplement for lowering and controlling your insulin. But there's others too. Magnesium can be very helpful. Thiamine, which is vitamin B1, that one can be helpful. Zinc can be helpful for helping stabilize sugar and controlling and stabilizing cholesterol levels. But by far and away, the most important strategy is going to be to lower your insulin and lower your sugar. If you do have problems with cholesterol, if it's going out of whack, I guarantee you got blood pressure problems too. You probably have weight problems also, and more than likely, you're on the road too if you're not already a diabetic. So treat cholesterol issues first and foremost as a blood sugar issue. Use niacin, use vitamin B1, use zinc, use magnesium, use chromium, use vanadium. And by the way, omega-3 fatty acids are also very helpful. In addition to omega-6 fatty acids, get yourself on that ultimate EFA from Longevity. Okay, Hardy, thanks so much for calling from Mississippi. Our number 866-582-9933. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. And we are back on The Bright Side. You get questions a lot about folks who want to supplement, who want to put their kids on nutritional supplement programs. Is it safe for kids to supplement? Absolutely, folks. Kids benefit from nutritional supplementation even more than adults do, because their bodies are growing. Anytime a tissue, a part of the body is growing or it's moving really fast, that's a part of the body that's going to utilize nutrients really quickly. The heart, for example, uses nutrition very quickly, uses up nutrition very quickly, absorbs nutrients very quickly. The brain absorbs nutrients very quickly. It's moving very fast. It's active, very active. Kids, because they're growing, use nutrients very rapidly. Kids need nutrients more even than adults probably do. You may want to adjust for weight. If you have kids who are 40 or 50 pounds or not quite 40 or 50 pounds yet, then you may want to adjust for weight. And if you're breastfeeding or you have an infant, then you probably want to lay off supplementation. But certainly The B complex for children can be extremely valuable for brain health, for thinking, for emotional issues. The B vitamins can help wean your kids away from sugar. More protein, getting kids on a protein supplement, very, very valuable strategy because kids are they're building muscle. A lot of kids are athletic. They're breaking down fast, so they're building up fast. So get your kid on a protein supplement. That's a great idea. It wouldn't hurt to get your kid on zinc. If not 50 milligrams of zinc, maybe 10 or 15 milligrams a day of zinc. Zinc is extremely important for brain health. It's also important for kids who are eating a lot of sugar. If you notice that your kid has emotional issues or OCD problems or problems with attention deficit disorder, those are cries for nutritional help. Get your kid on the B complex. And please, people, if you got a physician who's trying to get your kid on Ritalin, or anything like Ritalin, there's newer drugs like Adderall out now, fancier versions of Ritalin, but if you've got a physician who's trying to drug your kid up because he's got attention deficit disorder, please, people, get your kid on a nutritional supplement program with B vitamins first before you turn to a prescription drug for a kid, because just like a kid is going to absorb nutrients very rapidly, just like nutrients are going to have a rapid effect on children, so will drugs. And that's not a good effect. If nutrients will have a good effect on children, drugs will have a poisonous effect on kids. And just like they'll absorb nutrients rapidly, they're going to absorb and utilize drugs just as rapidly. So to answer your question, kids can supplement. Absolutely. They need to supplement as much or more than adults. If your kid is very small, 20 or 30 or 40 pounds, then maybe check with your doctor or give them an appropriately smaller dose. Kids over 50 or 60 pounds can probably use a regular dose depending on what that nutrient is. Focus on protein, focus on essential fatty acids, focus on the B complex of vitamins, especially thiamine, vitamin B1, but all the B complex. Try to use liquid nutrients. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine is great for kids because it's liquid nutrition and it is tasty. Your kid will think he's drinking a Kool-Aid beverage. To answer your question, ma'am, yes, supplementation is great for kids. Okay, 866-582-9933. Let's go to Texas and talk to John. What's up, John? Hey, John. Do we have John? Doesn't sound like we have John. Okay, let's go to Michael in Colorado. Michael, what's up, buddy?
Appreciate everything that you're doing for us, and you are a definite freedom fighter as far as our medical is concerned.
Praise God. Thank you.
I appreciate all of that for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
I don't want to take up too much time for all the other callers, but I did have a couple of issues with a few family members and friends of mine. One of my friends, his wife is going through some issues. They're saying that she has long intestines and that they were wanting to do some surgeries or something on that.
She has wrong intestines or long intestines?
Long. Yeah, they were long. Like, I guess they were elongated and something about they want to go in and cut them out.
I'm telling you, man. You know, that's just that. Part of me wants to just be angry, and part of me wants to cry, and part of me wants to laugh, and part of me wants to scream. Don't let anybody cut your intestines. The doctors say, well, you got extra. You have a long intestine.
Give it to us for a reason, right?
It's there. Praise God, it's there. Every inch is responsible for some kind of absorption activity. Every millimeter. It's not extra. Now, if you have some kind of intestinal cancer, that's one thing. But shy of cancer, if you have an intestinal problem, that is not a reason to have your intestine taken out. If you hit your thumb with a hammer, you don't cut your thumb off. If you have a headache, you don't cut your head off. And if you have an intestinal problem, you don't cut your intestine out. You got to figure out what is triggering the intestinal issue. The intestines are extremely sensitive when it comes to absorbing things. That's their job, is to absorb things. So if you put the wrong thing in the body, it's going to activate a defense mechanism. If you put the wrong things in the body, it's going to activate a defense mechanism to keep the intestines pure. That defense mechanism itself can be a problem, especially when it's chronic. The defense mechanism, the defense system in the digestive tract is supposed to be activated periodically, rarely, but it's not supposed to be activated chronically all the time. What ends up happening is we get this chronic activation of the digestive defense system. That means chronic inflammation, and over time, that means intestinal problems. The intestine will begin to break down. The lining will begin to get porous. Things can get into the blood that shouldn't get into the blood, and it creates a big mess. And that's the bad news. The good news is it is so easy to treat. All digestive problems are easy to treat because you can't have a digestive problem unless you're giving your body the wrong thing to digest. So what you got to do with any kind of intestinal issue, and I don't care if it's celiac or Crohn's or colitis or whatever, just figure out what's triggering the problem and eliminate what's triggering the problem. Now, in addition to eliminate the triggers, and by the way, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to figure what the triggers are. I understand that. That's why you got to get yourself a little book and write down every time you have either a digestive symptom, write down what you ate 4 or 5 hours before, or alternatively, just keep a little book of everything you eat and then how you feel 4 or 5 hours later. So you had your breakfast of eggs and bacon and pancakes. You write that down: eggs, bacon, and pancakes. And next to it, how does my digestive system feel 4, 5, 6 hours later? You'll start to notice a pattern. Those are foods that need to be eliminated. Then there are nutritional supplements that you can take that can help the digestive system. There's tons. I'm just going to give you a couple of them. My favorite is glutamine powder. Now you'll find glutamine in whey protein. It's one of the advantages of whey protein. It contains glutamine, and if you can handle whey protein, it's a great way to support digestive health. A lot of things in whey protein support digestive health, including glutamine, but whey protein is also important for the bacteria that live in the intestine. So getting yourself on glutamine is important. 5 to grams a day. That is 1 to 2 teaspoons a day. Glutamine comes in a powder. You can also buy it as pills or capsules, but I recommend the powder. It's much more cost effective, and it has a lot of other advantages too. You don't have to have a digestive problem to benefit from glutamine. Secondly, tied with glutamine for the most important digestive supplement you could ever take is probiotics. And I'm telling you something. Let me tell you something about probiotics. I talk about them all the time here. You had to pick one supplement that every single person should take, in addition to a multivitamin. If you had to pick one single supplement that everybody should take, no matter what, it would be probiotics. Especially if you have digestive symptoms, look for a probiotic that has multiple strains of bacteria. I like the Biolumin Nightly Essence from Longevity because you get enzymes and a lot of other things in there. But whatever you pick, make sure you get multiple strains of bacteria, and make sure you're taking around 80 to 100 billion units a day. Most of them come in 10 billion unit capsules, so 8 to 10 capsules a day. With probiotics, they're a little tricky because you want to dose yourself with probiotics functionally. You want to use functional dosing, and that means that you need to take as many probiotics as you need, you specifically, not what your mother needs or your friend needs or what your doctor told you to do, what you specifically need. Some people will need 80 billion units a day. Some people will need 160 billion units a day. Some people will need somewhere in between that. Whatever that is for you, that's called functional dosing. So you take 5 capsules a day. You feel good. So you say, okay, I'm going to take 6 capsules tomorrow. You take 6 capsules the next day. You say, wow, I feel a lot better. I'm going to try 7 capsules. Take 7 capsules. You say, well, I don't feel so much better. So then you know that you need to have 6 capsules a day. So you see what I'm saying? You're dosing yourself functionally by how your particular functions improve. So you got glutamine, you got probiotics, you've got whey protein, and there are essential fatty acids. Yesterday I said that you can't grow protein without fat. To repair the intestinal lining, you need to be building up protein. The intestinal lining is largely, like the rest of the body, composed of protein, so you need to be making sure that you're getting enough essential fatty acids to repair those proteins. There's tons more that you can do for the digestive tract, but that'll get you started. Thanks so much for calling, Michael. Appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who called, all you listeners. Thanks to everybody who's been writing me letters. I appreciate all you guys. Stay tuned for Alex Jones next on most of these stations. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We will talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.